Hey everybody, Scoutcrafter here again, Mishmash Monday. Hope you had a great weekend. We have a little bit of a different show planned. I wanted to start off with a story. A story that was triggered by a subscriber by the name of Jessica Green. And Jessica wrote in the comment that she said a friend of her father's, when they were younger, used to get some supplies at Camp Smith, and it brought back memories because we were doing that entrenching tool last week. And I said, boy, I got a good Camp Smith story I left in the comments. And then I was thinking about it. I was having a little flashbacks. And I said, you know, I never told anybody this story. And I was going to take it to my grave. But I said, I'm going to share it with you for the first time ever. And I thought maybe you'd enjoy it because it's a pretty cool story. And it might be a little bit of a different format. We're going to have to do it in parts here. So let's get started. Okay, to start off the story, first of all, I just want to talk about quickly about organizations. You know, there are every organization that was ever created had some kind of standards they wanted to live up to. And there was always something that would try and take these standards away through history, you know, and infiltrate the organization and get in this, because there's always good people and bad people, you know, and to keep an organization with such high standards is very difficult, no matter what it is. Throughout history, it's from Sparta all the way now to the Boy Scouts. You know, it's just very difficult to keep that standard because there's always forces that try and infiltrate any organization to bring it down. And when I say this, I'm talking about an organization I was involved in, and that's the Marine Corps. And there was a group of Marines that were out of Pennsylvania that has a kind of a bad reputation. And in amongst the circle of Marines, we knew about them. We used to call them birds, you know, and they never kept their hair to standards or their uniforms, and they used to drink on duty. It was just you know, everybody disowned them. Nobody wanted nothing to do with them. And we had our first interaction with them when we were in Panama doing some training, and some of our gear went missing, and there was only one other place that could take it. It was them. They stole some of our gear, and they were just, you know. So I always knew one day I would have my revenge on them. You know, revenge is a dish served best cold. And I said, one day I'll get back at him, you know. You just, you know, you don't want to risk getting court-martialed at the time or doing anything stupid, so you just wait your time. But eventually, things will come back. So that was my plan. Now, Camp Smith is a beautiful camp up in upstate New York by Bear Mountain, right off Bear Mountain Highway. And it has a tremendous amount of training facilities up there, like a full-size shooting range. And a lot of organizations, a lot of different branches in the military use it. But it is run by a CO, a commanding officer that was, I believe was at the time, was National Guard. It was a colonel. And he was a stickler. You know, this guy ran that camp, kept it beautiful, and was very strict with who he allowed to use and what facilities in the camp he let use. And well, I got word that one time the Marines, now he didn't like Marines too much because, and rightfully so, because a lot of times they tend to be a little bit destructive and noisy and boisterous and rambunctious. So when they were leaving one time, somebody put a Marine decal. You ever see one of those 4-inch round decals? Somebody stuck it on this beautiful M48 tank that adorns the entrance of Camp Smith. It's a beautiful tank that's been there for years. You could see it when you drive by. It's right by the turnoff that you go into the camp. And so somebody stuck a sticker on there, and the colonel went nuts. And did a full investigation and found out who and what, whatever. So whatever the case was, and I always remember that. He happened to like my particular unit because we were a smaller unit, and we were really kept up after ourselves and left the place better than we found it. However, like I said, he didn't like Marines too much. And Camp Smith was the place that I was going to put my plan into motion. Now, every year when you leave the service and you go into reserve duty or whatever, every year you have to qualify with rifle or pistol in order to keep up your qualifications. You have to qualify every year. So that meant you would have to go to a local Army base or camp or rifle range to qualify. And one of the few rifle ranges that were available was Camp Smith. And I had found out from looking at the schedule that one day at coming up soon, there was going to be that Pennsylvania company of Marines that I wasn't crazy about. They were going to be scheduled with a National Guard. There was going to be two companies up there shooting, a National Guard and a Marine, the Pennsylvania Marine Detachment. So on that date, so I said, wow, look at this. And so what happened was not too long before, had a friend that used to be a recruiter, and he gave me a bunch of two brand new packs, but they were older stickers, bumper stickers, Marine Corps stickers. You've seen them before, probably on the back of vehicles or whatnot. And he just got a whole bunch of new ones in, and nobody wanted the old ones. So he said, "You want them for the Scouts?" I said, "Yeah, I'll take it." So I had 100 of them, 2 packs of 50, all wrapped in cellophane. And I put my plan into motion. What I was going to do is on the day that the two companies, the Marine Company and the National Guard Company, was up there, I drove up my personal vehicle up to Bear Mountain Park. And I parked in the parking lot, and that's about 5 miles from the camp. And put everything in a pack, and I hiked across the Bear Mountain Bridge and about 4 miles down to the camp at 2 o'clock in the morning. At 2 o'clock in the morning, I took out a tarp. I had a big green tarp, and I covered the tank with the tarp. Again, nobody was coming in and out of the base at that time. It was very quiet at that time at night. Even there's no traffic that goes past there. And but I covered the tank anyway with the tarp, and from underneath the tarp, I started to apply all the Marine stickers. Now, it took me about 45 minutes to apply all the stickers to that tank. But when I finished and took the tarp off the tank and rolled it back up and put it back in the pack, the tank now went from being green to being red and yellow, or crimson and gold, as we call it. And it was just wall-to-wall stickers, bumper stickers all over that tank. And I knew hell was going to be paid, whoever did that. And I was very careful, because if I would have gotten caught, it would have been a court-martial. I didn't let anybody know I was doing it. I didn't want to involve anybody. However, I went back, hiked back to my vehicle, got in, went home, and the next day, when the two companies were leaving after doing their rifle certifications, and they passed by, because they used to go up by bus. They passed the tank, and they saw that it was covered with Marine Corps stickers. So needless to say, it only took about 12 hours before total chaos erupted, and that company, that Marine Company from Pennsylvania, of course, was blamed for this incident. Now, it seems funny to me, but a huge investigation took place after that, and the colonel of the Camp Smith, banned the Pennsylvania Marines from ever going back to that camp, and they had to send a detachment of Marines to that tank during the week to remove every bumper sticker from the tank. But still, the colonel said, you're never coming back here again. And I always thought that was funny. Again, that was 30 years ago. The statute of limitations are long past, but I always thought that was funny. I always thought it was a good story. I never got to tell, because you never know who knows who, right? But I always wish that I would have had a camera to take a picture of that tank in its red and gold. It looked pretty interesting. I put the stickers on nice and neat. They weren't just plastered on. And it would have been interesting just to have that picture today. But anyway, there we go. That's a story that has never been told and probably will never be told again. Okay, for today's project, my girlfriend had, you know how she has these gnomes that we did during a couple episodes. Well, she had these other planters that kind of got weather beaten, you know, from being outside for many years, and she really liked these, so she asked me to repaint them. I've had them down. I was tripping over these things for like a month. It's a pain to get to, but since I was doing a lot of paint mixing, I said, let me give it a shot. So here's what I did. What do you think? Now, normally, these probably would have wound up in the trash, but they have sentimental value to her. I was never crazy about the color, neither was she. You know, it had kind of a maroon face, but we're going to change some of that. We primed it and prepped it, and then we changed some of the colors around. It's a little lighter here that you look here, but it's darker in person, the colors, but they're very bright and cheery. And then, of course, we did the gnome separately, and I like the way he came out. Okay, next up, I got this drill bit, probably paid 50 cents for it from Bob up Zagre. And this one here is a beautiful, an auger bit is a beautiful piece of work, especially one like this. This is a heavy-duty, well-machined auger bit. And a couple people have seen me do these on the channel before. I said they'd like to see this done. And we're going to do a quick job. Let me show you a couple things here. Obviously, we have to get rid of the rust and whatever and clean it up. But this one here looks like some weld spatter. I had to look and say, that wasn't cracked, was it? I don't know. It's some weld spatter on there, it looks like. So I don't know how or why this would get that. But we're going to see what we can do. And to make this bit look interesting, look at this, how, you know, you can see how that thing turns like that. It's just beautiful, precision machined piece of work here. Let's clean it up. Using a series of different wire brushes, and this is why you save your old ones that might be a little thinner to get in the grooves. We got rid of most of the rust here, and now we have to work on this. I don't know if it's weld or weld splatter, so it might have been a weld, maybe a crack there, who knows. So let's get that to the belt sander and make that smooth, see what it is. Now you can see by those beautiful bright sparks how hard this steel is, but all the weld splatter is gone. It's running nice and true. That's the first thing you check to make sure there's no wobble in it. Runs beautiful. Let's try it out on a board. Now, this type of bit is meant for electricians to basically drill through studs and things like that when you're running conduit and whatnot. I have this clamped down, not tight, but I should have really clamped it tighter. But here we are. We're going to use the Milwaukee Super Hole Shooter, and it makes quick work of this beam. You can see it goes right through it, and you don't have to push very hard. But what a beautiful bit. And you can see the hole it makes. It's not a finish hole, but it's a roughing hole. Here we go, a little tape on the flutes, and let's get some paint in there. Now, you know my favorite part. Remember what this auger bit looked like before we started? And we're calling this project almost done. You can see what we did here. We finished the outside. We put a nice heavy coat of red enamel on the inside. And when you do a heavy coat, it takes a few days to dry. And this is going to take at least a week to dry. It is almost dry to the touch now, but you can put some fingerprints on and whatnot. But you see how nice it looks with that regal red inside of there. This is indeed a GreenLee 7/8 of an inch bit, and all we have to do now is once the paint is totally dry, like I said, to the point where you could touch, there's no tackiness or anything, then we will polish the flutes and we'll call it done. But right now it's going to look pretty much just like this. Very interesting. I love auger bits. Okay, so in closing, what do you think about the colors inside of the flutes of that drill? It really changes the look of that drill bit, doesn't it? That auger bit. Also, just a quick note, August 2nd and 3rd, for those of you that are lock collectors, padlock collectors like myself, or aspiring to be, there's going to be a fantastic show in Lancaster Lock Show that I used to go years ago, then they stopped having it. They're bringing it back. It's in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. A little too far for me to go because it's 4 hours each way, and I used to sleep over. But anyway, if you're in the area and you're close and you do collect padlocks, you won't regret going to the show. It's August August 3rd, but they have a, on August 2nd, they do have a early admission, but it's quite a bit more to get in at that time. But August 3rd is the actual show. If you're in the area, you might want to stop by if you do collect padlocks. Anyway, thanks so much for stopping by. I hope you enjoyed the episode. We'll see you again on Wednesday. Hope you have a great day. Take care now. Bye-bye.